Hi guys, and welcome back to Koi Fish Johnny. I'd just like to start by just saying a huge thank you to every single person that's dropped a comment on my latest video, which is unfortunately how I overdosed my koi pond with potassium permanganate and wasn't able to resolve the issue quick enough to basically in a nutshell, lost 15 fish. If you've not seen the video, which I imagine that you probably have. But the support that I've got off that is mind-blowing. I mean, every single comment. I've not been able to write back to everybody individually just yet, but I always do, and I definitely will be doing. But I've read a lot of the comments. I read a lot of the comments last night when it went out, and I'm just blown away with the general support and the general niceness of people. There is so much good people in this world compared to bad, but all the time through the media we're forced to look at the bad. But there are amazing people, and so many of you watch this channel. So thank you for the support. It means the world to me. It doesn't change the scenario where I've lost the fish. I can't have them back. I can't have Fred back, which I'm massively devastated about, and I don't think I'll ever find a fish like that. I'm still going through it all in my head and stuff. But in a nutshell anyway, what I've been doing today is re-watching. I did video up to putting the potassium permanganate in and a little bit afterwards, but obviously when it went pear-shaped I wasn't videoing because I was just in action mode trying to do as much as I could. So I've looked at the video and I thought to myself, is it worth putting that out? Because you can, it shows you guys, my subscribers, or the people that follow the channel or follow my progress in this hobby. It shows that I did make the right steps. Everything that I've looked at in the video, I've made the right steps every single time. Obviously, up until when I measured it on the scales. So this, I am going to clip in this video, which is going to be about, I think it's about 15 to 17 minutes long. There's obviously a lot of my personality in the video because it's pre-incident. So there's a lot of personality in there. I believe that there's value in this video for people that are going to go through treating with PP. And I believe that by watching this video, and also if there's something that I might have missed from the experts, the guys out there, I just basically want to share how prepared I was and how honest I'm being on my channel, and the insight that I did not take this lightly, and everything that I've said, basically here's a visual representation, barring the measuring out, which bizarrely I do say I'm not going to put it on camera, and that's the error part. So in a nutshell, without waffling on, here is the prequel to the incident where I have lost 15 of my koi for overdosing with potassium permanganate. Now, if you're watching this then and potentially looking at doing a potassium permanganate treatment, please ensure that you have 4 to 10 times the amount of hydrogen peroxide needed to neutralize in the case of an overdose. If I would have had more, I would have saved my fish. I had 1.5 times more than I needed to neutralize it for the size of the pond, but as I'd added too much, I was unable to counter it with the amount needed. Now, if I would have had that, I would have saved my fish. So the £7 a bottle, buy yourself 10 or buy yourself 5 if you need one, and stick them on the shelf. They don't really go out of date, I don't think, or they take quite a long time to go out of date. So it could potentially save your fish. It would have saved mine if I had them in. Second thing, test your scales before you do. Weigh a 20p piece. It weighs 5 grams. I knew this beforehand. I watched a video online prior to treating it to refresh my knowledge. Who weighs a 20p piece and it weighs 5 grams to calibrate his scales. I could do that in a best option, have 2 sets of scales, because the likelihood of 2 sets of scales going wrong isn't going to happen really. I can't imagine that happening. It would, you draw an error on one and it'd be counted by the other, and then you'd be able to make sure that you just do not make that mistake of measuring wrong. Basically, I measured wrong. So yeah, I'm gonna clip it in now. This is a prequel. Don't feel too sorry for me. It is what it is. I am coming round, and I am feeling a lot better thanks to you guys, thanks to my wife who's been a massive support, thanks to the people that I've spoke to on the phone, and basically putting a decent spin on a bad situation or getting me back out of the rock bottom of making an error with this. Okay, so I'll talk to you at the end of this video. Hi guys, and welcome back to Koi Fish Johnny. Okay, so we hit the magic 1k the other day. I was out having a beer, looking over the pond, having a little party with the other 24 lads in there as they shoot past the window. So having a great time. Then all of a sudden I noticed, first thing, I looked at Fred, who is my Karachi guy in yellow, and he had a few veins on the surface that I hadn't seen before, and I thought, hey up, I've read about this. Sometimes when fish has trichodina, they can become stressed and the veins start popping. Then I tried feeding them and they were spitting out the food. So I was sitting on top of the world and I brought back to rock bottom, well not rock bottom, but it's a bit dramatic. But I was brought back to earth with a bang to the koi fish world. Yes, it's time to investigate and get your microscope out. So yeah, so I thought, as I've got my new microscope that I've been using and getting used to, which by the way is absolutely fantastic. I brought it out here for you. It's this, the Apex Practitioner. Honestly, as you know guys, I've been through a few microscopes. That USB one was crap, and then one off Amazon which was like 85 quid. It just was not worth the time or effort to even bother ordering that. This, honestly, cracking bit of kit, especially if you're a beginner or semi-beginner like me. I'm definitely not familiar with using these, but it's necessary to be able to operate one of these as a koi keeper to identify your parasites. So this is something I'm getting used to, I'd say. Even though it's been a few years and I have used various microscopes, I still find it extremely hard. I have no idea why. Maybe it's just because I'm impatient and I just expect to click it on and then it identified immediately which parasite is knocking about. Anyway, that's a great bit of kit. The moving shelf is phenomenal because I've not had one with a moving shelf, but I will do later on a video on why that microscope is so good. Okay, so back to the fish. Just move this randomly, no idea what that is or why it's in there, but it's not in there now. Okay, so I sat here literally, well stood here pretty much exactly where I am now. And Fred, I just noticed, because he is pretty much my favourite fish in character wise, I just noticed his veins were popping a little bit more than usual, and I thought that's a sign of stress. And he was spitting out his food, plus some of the appetite on the fish during this extreme heat wave that has just passed hasn't been phenomenal like I'd expect it to be. It's been a little bit more reserved in their approach to feeding, so I've been thinking there's something wrong with the pond for a couple of days now. But yeah, so I whipped the shusui blue out because I seen blue and jagger flicking off the side, and I thought, right, as Fred is a Karachi guy, and when you do bag him up, he bleeds straight away through the gills. They're notorious for it apparently, as I learned off the Balding Reefers channel. Karachi guys, ruthless when they are bagged up or in a bowl or anything like that. They are nutcases, but when they're in the pond, they're your best mate, like Freddie is, best mate in there, knocking around, come up, stroke his head, as you've seen in the videos. But when you bag them up, they bleed through the gills, so I didn't fancy the bleeding through the gills part, so I skipped it and went for jagger and blue. Did a scrape on it, took it inside on the apex there, and found the spinning saucers, the dreaded spinning saucers. Uninvited guest to my 1k party, really took the jam out of Johnny's donut, and unfortunately it is what it is. We had a lot of guests at the party, not just us, them 24 and me. It was thousands really. But anyway, on a serious note, I identified it was the spinning saucer, the trichodina, and I thought, great, so that means I've got to do the potassium permanganate treatment, which thankfully I did already have, because I've treated for this a couple of times before, which is here. I checked the in date part and it's just in date, got a few months left, and I'm able to treat obviously the pond straight away with that. And what I've also got the antidote to balance out the pond, the hydrogen peroxide. Basically, if anything goes wrong, you've got to have a bit of that kit next to you, because when you're using the potassium permanganate, you're basically going to be draining a lot of oxygen out of the pond, so your fish are going to be struggling. And if you need to quickly correct that, hydrogen peroxide it's the stuff that corrects it, and corrects it pretty much immediately. So that, make sure you do not use this without this, okay? Especially if you're beginner. Maybe if you're advanced you don't even need my knowledge, but if you're a beginner, the potassium permanganate is just scary. I remember the first time I did it, I was scared to death. I was like proper just staring at the pond. I know you got to stay and observe it, but with the first time treatment I was sat there like that, literally just waiting for something to happen, but nothing happened, and the treatment went well and all good. So basically what we've got to do now is work out, or what I've already done is work out for my pond, which is 2,316 gallons estimated without filtration or pipe work, which is 10,530 litres without the pipe work. So including the pipe work, I've gone for 11,000 litres, 2,419 gallons. Okay, so we need 6.8. I will pop this in here. We need, so then we go, so plus the nexus and the pipe work comes out at 11,000 litres, 2,419 gallons. So we need 6.8 grams for each 1,000 gallons, or 4,564 litres in the UK conversion, which is important to know. Now that works out at 6.8 times 2.3 for the gallons equals 15.64 grams, which is what I need for this pond. Okay, that's the treatment that I'm going to have, and that will hopefully turn all the pond water purple, which looks extremely dramatic and extremely scary. Maybe they could have done it in a different colour that doesn't seem so dramatic, but hey ho, it's purple, it's scary, and that's what's going to happen. Okay, so one of the other things I'm going to also do is I'm going to load up, because when this goes purple and interacts with, like, I believe parts of the algae or parts that are in the pond, it basically wears it down, the potassium permanganate. I'm just going to call it PP. It wears it down and it starts to go brown, and when it starts to go brown, it's inactive, it's no longer working, so you need to top it up. So what a lot of people do is they have a half dose ready mixed, ready to go. So I'm going to have that half dose mixed up and ready to go. If that half dose goes in early, I'll create another half dose. And like I say, if anything starts going wrong, we've got the get out of jail card with the hydrogen peroxide. That's the get out of jail card. If anything goes wrong and you overdose, fish start gulping, which is another good point, because one of the things it does, it strips the oxygen out of the pond, meaning that your fish are going to be suffocating, which means more is more in the case of oxygen. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be turning up the air pump to the middle, pulling a bit off the nexus because it's got a split on it. I'm going to be turning the blade on. I'm also going to be deploying, if you can see there, my emergency airline pumps. They're going to be jumping in. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 points of main attack for the aeration into the pond, which systematically should increase it by at least 100%. So we should be well and above in the safe zone for the potassium permanganate to be in the pond without fear of stripping too much oxygen out for the fish. Okay, so now I've explained all that and the facts of this happening. I've got the pond water there. Don't think you need to see me measure out 15.64 grams on my scales, which are there, and that's what the potassium permanganate is going to get measured out in. Okay, so this air stone knocking around in here now is just going to be, in fact we'll give it a quick wiggle round, just hopefully that there isn't any parts that's stuck at the bottom. That's got to keep it oxygenizing or aerating, or whatever you want to call it, for at least 20 minutes. I'm leaving it for 25, and then we're going to add it systematically over the course of an hour to the pond and turn all the pond purple. As you can see, we have got some more aeration there. More aeration there. The other air pump's going to go there. In fact, let's switch on the good old blade while we're here. In we go. Okay, so let's kill that. There she goes. Okay guys, so I hope you appreciate me videoing that, turning on the blade for you, because I nearly died coming out of there, falling off the side of there, past the tempest, onto there, into the measuring bowl. Oh, measuring bowl, massive point. Do you remember when we started this season, I called it the season of growth. I measured all the fish. Well, when I was doing my scrape the other day in the bowl, I clocked the Shusui Blue's size. I measured him. He's 36 centimeters, meaning he has grown since spring 6 centimeters, which I'm really happy about. So he's grown 6 centimeters from spring. We've not even finished the year, which is 20% growth. Yeah, 20% growth he's had this year. So I'm really chuffed with that. Fred's my top one at 43 centimeters there going into this year, but I'm guessing that he has smashed 43 centimeters now. That Sankey that I've fallen in love with for its aesthetics and the way it looks is definitely a front runner, because he has grown like mad. Not only is he beautiful, he's getting big now. A bit like his dad. Anyway, on a serious note, I'm going to leave that because I've got to go back to work for a little bit and come back down, and then we're going to be spreading it in. Dramatic colour that. Okay guys, welcome back. At this particular section, I've literally just added probably about a third of the potassium permanganate as it's ready to go. As you can see, what it's done to the pond, it's turned it like a Vimtoy colour. It isn't the most attractive. Probably cool if you like a discotheque or something like that, but for me, I'm not into that purple. It scares me. I don't know why it scares me, that colour, but it does. Okay, so I'm going to keep adding this over an hour, or 3/4 of an hour. That's how much I've got left. Okay, you can see there. The reason why I put it on the grass is, and I know that you guys can get involved here, is because it's so purple and such a harsh colour. I didn't want it staining the stones or the floor or anything, so I thought if I put it on the grass, it can stain the grass, I can cut the grass. But I'm not 100% on whether it does stain anything, whether it doesn't stain anything. But I've just put it in. The fish were all at the window here, ready to be fed. They are nowhere to be seen. Okay, so let's have a look over the top. Can't see a goddamn fish anywhere. No. Okay guys, can't see a goddamn fish anywhere. Alright, so like I said, we've got the fountain banging on at the back. Got the aeration up like massive bubbles, check them out. They are quite cool to watch. In fact, you can see a few of the fish here, Winston and that down the bottom. I don't know if you'll be able to bring him up, but Winston is literally just down there. I don't know if the camera will grab it, but it's very difficult to see considering that's only like 40% of the stuff. Or 30-40%, who knows. But we've got that air stone in there pumping around. We've got this air stone in there. In fact, that air stone is going to come back out and go straight back into the bucket. Okay, just move the bucket over here. Keeping it on the grass to ensure that we don't stain anything. But please do comment so whether it does stain or doesn't stain. And there you go, back in the bucket. I'm not going to jump back in every time I come out and add purple stuff, potassium permanganate, to the pond. I'm literally just going to come and do it out, and then when I think there's something interesting to tell you, I'll jump in. One thing I will say that's quite interesting is, I just did a quick short, because obviously got my new vest on, haven't I? So I've literally just recorded a quick short, my wife recorded it, and I sent it out, and it's just done, in 40 minutes, it's done 6,000 plus views, so thank you very much YouTube, and thank you very much new viewers. I hope you enjoyed it. It's just me being daft, so if that's what you like, seeing people be daft and stupid, continue to subscribe to this channel, because I'm your man. Hi guys, so we're all added now, we're all rocking and rolling. One of the things that I forgot to mention to you guys about this is, when you read the back of the packet, it says that you've got to do it for a minimum of, I think it's 15 or 16 hours, something absolutely ridiculous to be watching your pond for. But I've seen loads and loads and loads of videos on this by a lot of people that I have a massive amount of respect for, and everybody says the packet is overkill, it's ridiculous. Don't believe what it says. I don't know why the manufacturer has it on the packet to say 14 to 15 hours, because I'm one of the guys that reads the instructions and follows it, and in this case you can just see it's a bit of stupidity, because treating it for 4.5 hours is adequate. That's what they say, 4 to 4.5 hours is adequate, and you can't realistically sit there for 15 hours watching your pond. You'd have to do it when you got up and stay there, sat there all day until night time, because as you can see there, it's very purple, but when it does start to go brown, it isn't a sudden bang, it's brown. It's more subtle. It changes slowly. I remember last time I did it, or last few times I did it with the wife, I was like, is that brown or is that pink? Or is it purple? I'm like, what is going on? So you start doubting yourself. Is that the right time? Is it the wrong time? So I think we'll have to top it up. If I do have to top it up, I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna be on standby ready. But because I've just emptied the remainder of that bucket into there, it's not on standby and ready yet. But I don't want to carry that into my kitchen to get some warm water to put in to mix it up with just yet while it's dripping purple. Because it's dripping purple and stains my tiles that I laid in there, I'll get my ass thoroughly kicked. This is absolutely devastating. It's like midnight now. I'm not sure whether this video will come out or not, or what. It's just there's no other way to describe it. I've made a mistake, and as you can see from the back there, we've got Eric in the pond there paddling pool because he can live without the oxygen for a while. We've got 3 fish there in that little bowl recovering, and then we've got some fish at the window just about recovering, or just about living. I think I've lost a lot of fish. Basically I did a PP treatment and something's gone wrong, so I dropped all the water, or as much water as I could, refilled it. I don't know what's gone wrong, but I am going to find out, and I have no idea what to do. I just feel like absolute, it's bad, man. I'm scared to death to open them curtains tomorrow and find out just how many fish I've lost. But there's nothing else to say really. I'm doing as much as I can. But I've made a big mistake somewhere. Okay guys, so that's a very sad ending there, as you can see, and I did lose 15 of the fish, but I am absolutely blown away to still have my 9 koi, which I am monitoring every 5 minutes, who seem scared to death of me, and I don't blame them for it. As you can see, it's exactly what I said in my last video, and that is the representation. It is literally, you can see, I think I have personally got the perfect setup. I've just literally hit the wrong button at the wrong time. And the scales are always to grams, but I did make sure beforehand that they were set to grams. I'm just thinking, the kids weren't in the house, so I don't think that they couldn't have touched it in the middle, because it was just like a couple of minutes before my wife went to get a pick up from nursery. So the kids haven't hit it, they're not to blame. The wife definitely didn't hit it. Could it have malfunctioned and flicked itself over? Yes, it could. Do I want to blame it on something like that when it's uncertified as an excuse? No, I don't. I just want to blame myself. I should have double checked. Could have been avoided with a double check, and it wasn't. So I've learned from it. But I just, like I say, I just want to provide an insight into how I prepared, what went on. It's an open, honest insight. You guys are part of my journey and the reason why I'm continuing to do this. I love doing this. I love this YouTubing stuff on a topic that I'm very passionate about. I'm just absolutely gutted that I've lost Fred, and I have been watching like the videos of him in a way, just the way he was as a character, I don't think can ever be replaced. I literally used to scoop him up and mess around with him in my hands off camera and stuff like that, and he used to come up like a torpedo and land. He was such a character, and he used to do it for everyone that come around the house. People like gobsmacked that a fish can act like that, and he's one of a kind, I think, and I don't think I'll get one. But when I do go looking for more koi, I will be hunting a personality, I can tell you that. And I will be definitely getting a Karachi guy. I'm probably going to think, anyway, I'm probably going to think that he's not going to be Deutsch like Fred was, because I don't want them to look, because they look quite similar, I don't want them to look the same. But I do want a Karachi guy. Anyway, so in that video you can see a lot of stuff that I got right, and I've basically made one step wrong. Got one huge step wrong, which was incorrectly weighing the potassium permanganate out, and the other half step that I got wrong was not having lots of hydrogen peroxide. And potentially a third step that I got wrong is doing it at the wrong time. But like I've said in my last video, trying to find 4 to 5 hours in a day, maybe 6 hours including preparation, in a day during a time that a shop is open, it's next to impossible to do, or it certainly is for my lifestyle. So it had to be at evening, and naturally, when the thing, but what I'm saying is, if you can do it in a time that you can get hold of people to help you, or you can get hold of a company, or you can get a hold of your local car dealer, do it in those time frames, not during the evening. I had to do mine during the evening. It was either that or all weekend, and time is just chock-a-block full all the time. So anyway, in a nutshell, I know a lot of people have been massively supporting my channel and don't want me to quit. I'm not going to quit. I'm too much in love with it, doing this hobby. I'm also like starting to 1%, 2% look forward to potentially buying more fish now, because I've got an empty pond. So that in itself is quite exciting. Be it, obviously, I am not massively excited about it, but it is something that's starting to creep into my head a little bit now as I look to move forward. As a lot of you guys have said, pick my chin up. I mean, look at the length on that neck, like a goddamn giraffe. Anyway, on that note, on that little happy, stupid note, I'm going to call it a day, guys. As you can see from the video, measures were taken and everything like that. And in the next episode, yeah, I'm gonna clock into the next episode. Hopefully this week, this weekend, I'll have all the apparatus, all the kit, all the gear to move the Nexus over to there over the weekend. So I'm really hoping that I'm able to record that, get a buzz out of moving it, get that area cleared out so we can get the container put in at the back and get the home office project moved to the next stage. Okay, so stay tuned, stay happy, and whatever else, I don't know. Take it easy, guys. Thank you for the support.